You know the biggest difference between brands doing $100,000 versus brands that are doing $10 million a year? It's customer loyalty. And what you'll see most small brands doing is spending all of their money only focusing on new customer acquisition. You get a client who buys a product for $40 once, and then you repeat that one-time purchase cycle without ever building a solid foundation of recurring revenue. But the brands that are making millions of dollars in profit, they get that same customer to purchase from them every single month without having to consistently chase after them. And I know that because I scaled my brand to over $20 million in sales and then recently sold it for millions of dollars. Or if you're currently scaling a brand, pay attention to this video because I'm gonna tell you the exact 5-step strategy I used to build a cult fan base for my brand. And at the time of close, my brand had a 54% returning customer rate month over month. And here's the reality. Anyone can get lucky with a winning product. But if you wanna build a real sustainable business, then what I'm about to share with you is absolutely crucial to do that. Phase 1 is all about getting initial traction through paid ads. So most of you are gonna be in this stage where you're just scaling a winning product and relying directly on acquiring new customers to grow your fan base or to grow your customer list. So in phase 1, all I'm doing is implementing my 1 mega campaign strategy, which you've probably heard about before. And so what actually is a 1 mega campaign? All it is that instead of using a bunch of different campaigns or a bunch of different ad sets to target specific interests or demographics, you're simply testing all your creatives in one campaign and letting Facebook's algorithm determine what the best audience is for your ads. So you can use an ABO or a CBO for this. And if you're testing creatives, I recommend you use an ABO if you don't have a lot of history in the ad account. But if you have a lot of purchases already, you can go ahead and use a CBO to test your creatives. And all you have to do is let Facebook do all the targeting. Do not set demographic locations or age restrictions, and you do not need to add any interest or lookalike audiences. The one restriction I would set is location. So obviously target the country that you want to, but leave everything else broad. Now within that campaign, every ad set will be its own angle or its own concept that you're testing. I mean, you'll put the variations within the ad level of that ad set. And nowadays, content is absolutely king. So at a minimum, every week, you should be testing at least 5 concepts. And within those 5 concepts, you should be doing at least 2 to 3 variations per concept. And if you're launching at least 5 concepts per week, this gives Facebook enough content to test different pockets of audiences. And it also keeps the content fresh for your viewers or possible customers, because what you'll notice is if you look at your frequency data, most of the time your customers are seeing your ad more than once. So it's always good to have fresh content constantly coming into the ad account. So by the end of phase 1, which is where most of you will be at, you have a proven product market fit. In other words, you know that people want this product and it is a problem that needs to be solved. But more importantly than that, you now have the data to know exactly who your ideal customer is and what messaging resonates most with them. Phase 2, locking in branding and packaging. Now, once you have traction or proven product market fit, we can move on to phase 2, which is all about creating an unforgettable brand experience. So phase 1 is done. You should have a little bit of money in your pocket to start investing into branding. Now, one of the most overlooked tools here is actually your product packaging. Most dropshippers will treat packaging as an afterthought and they'll just generate something random on ChatGPT. But actually, this is how you are going to separate yourself as a legitimate brand compared to those generic products that you can find on Amazon or that most people are running their ads to. Your packaging needs to do 3 things. It needs to establish your brand's identity. It needs to communicate your product's value. And lastly, it needs to create an experience that's worth sharing. That means you need to use consistent brand colors and messaging that you have on your website on your packaging. You're not just slapping a random logo on a box and hoping it sells. Here's the key. Your packaging should bring your customers into your brand's world. And what I mean by that is that the packaging you use for your product should be an experience. And you do that by using on-brand colors, textures, typography, designs on the packaging that instantly communicate your product's value and your brand's overall personality. And most of the time, people just slap a logo on a product, but your packaging should also include benefits and features of your product, so the customer understands exactly what they bought and why it matters. And really, your goal here when designing your packaging is to create packaging so premium that people want to keep it. So if you remember the first iPhone you bought, you probably kept that box for a while before you got rid of it. And that's the exact experience you want to create with your brand. And when people see this premium packaging, it just gives them that extra oomph to keep buying over and over again and also start telling their friends or posting about it on social media. During this branding phase, it's also when you need to start locking in consistent messaging across not only your packaging and your website, but also every email, every social media post, and even your ad copy. All of that should reinforce the message that your brand stands for and how it helps customers. And without this foundation, you're always going to be competing on price versus your competitors. And competing on price is a race to the bottom that literally kills profitability. Phase 3. Introducing hero product variations. And this is where customer loyalty really starts accelerating. Once customers love your core product and trust your brand, you start introducing variations of your hero product. Because it's much easier to convince a customer to buy multiple different flavors, different designs, or different colors of your hero product rather than convincing them to buy another complementary product on your store. With this strategy, you're going to give them exactly what they came to this store to buy from, but give them the option to buy different variations of it. So for example, let's say your hero product is a bottle of organic shampoo. Some great variations that I would do for that product is I would start with different scents for the shampoo, hair repair shampoo, or moisturizing shampoo, so on. One thing that is very important is that you don't just randomly start adding these variations. What you do is you need to research your customer base and find out what variations they actually want you to launch. And you can do that very easily by launching customer surveys. And here's how I do it. I just make a customer survey asking which of the product variations they would prefer. And I also state that if the customer completes the survey, they enter a chance to win a giveaway. And the giveaway prize could be like a cruise ship giveaway, a giveaway prize, money, vacation funds, whatever it can be, and you can choose that on your own. But you need to make sure you have a giveaway prize so customers are more likely to fill out the survey. And trust me, investing into a giveaway will pay off tenfold. Phase 4, optimizing product drop timing. All right, by this point, you should already have a strong foundation for building that cult-like fan base. But there are still 2 very important steps to completely lock them in. So let's move on to phase 4, which is all about perfecting product releases. Now you need to find out the optimal timing for launching new releases. If you launch new variations too often, your customers are going to get overwhelmed and stop buying your new variations. But if you launch them too rarely, then your customers are going to lose interest in your brand. How do I know this is true? Because if you pay attention to your own purchasing habits, for example, I was obsessed with Nero gum earlier this year, but I kept eating the same spearmint and wintergreen flavor, so I got bored of the brand. It wasn't until recently that they launched a new strawberry cake flavor that I repurchased the product. I'm sure every single one of you has had a similar experience with a brand you used to buy from. So the goal is to find the sweet spot of your product release timing so that you're building hype without overwhelming the audience. So consistent testing of this product release timing is crucial. Here's how you track an overall success of a product release. When you launch your first 2 product variations, you need to track the average drop day revenue. And this number is going to become the baseline for measuring all your future releases. And if a new drop brings in less revenue than your baseline number, it may mean that you're releasing products too often and your customers are feeling overwhelmed. But if a new drop brings in way more money than your baseline, it's a good sign that your customers are eager to buy more product. It also means that you could be releasing product variations more frequently to increase your overall revenue. And a pro tip for you is that you don't need to keep every product variation in stock at all times. In fact, if you have limited edition product releases, it's gonna make your cult fan base even stronger. Let those new releases sell out and make sure the customers know that your brand is in demand. And guess what? The next time you tease a product release, they'll be counting down the days for that new product to come out. Phase 5, expanding the product ecosystem. Now, this final phase is the most important for gaining lifelong customers. And I'm talking about expanding beyond your hero product variations and creating a whole ecosystem of products. So at this point, the snowball is barreling down the hill at 100 miles per hour. But here's a massive mistake I see people make. They launch complementary products way too early, which splits their cash flow up into a bunch of different products, and it also splits your attention into launching ads or CRO for these complementary products if you do them too early. So just remember that it's always best to double down on your hero product before getting into complementary products. So what products should you launch? The golden rule here is that every new complementary product should enhance the results of your current product line. And if you do this correctly, this ecosystem approach will create something absolutely insane, because customers aren't going to come just buy a single product from your store anymore. They're going to invest in the entire ecosystem that's going to give them the results they're looking for. Because from my experience, customers that buy multiple products from your store become significantly more valuable over time rather than customers that only buy your hero product. But more important than that, once they invest into your ecosystem, they literally become like BTS fans and they start telling everyone about your brand. Now, before you launch a complementary product, this obviously means you need to do research on your customers and what they want. Now, let's say your hero product is a skin cleanser and the customer buys it, they had a great experience, they come back the next month to buy again, but now they're gonna wanna buy the skin cleanser and the face moisturizer. But if that face moisturizer isn't listed on your store, then they're more than likely gonna go to a competitor competitor who sells the face moisturizer and a skin cleanser both, because it's just more convenient for them. And just like that, you've lost a customer. So your job in this final phase is to identify all the additional products that your customers are buying with similar products in your niche. And you combine all those products into a complete solution for your audience. This approach to a complete product line is what allowed me to scale to over $20 million in sales and have an over 54% return in customer rate month over month. And if you implement every step correctly, I can guarantee that you're going to start seeing growth really fast. Now, what makes this 5-step strategy work is understanding that customer loyalty is built through value delivery over time. Each phase builds on the previous one. So phase 1 attracts quality customers. Phase 2 exceeds their expectations through premium branding. Phase 3 shows that you're listening to their needs. And phase 4, it creates anticipation for your new products and a routine for them to keep buying your products. And lastly, phase 5 provides them a complete solution to their problem. The psychology here is simple. People become loyal to brands that consistently help them achieve their goals. When you focus on building this kind of relationship, customers just naturally become more valuable over time. This is why this systematic approach matters. You can't build deep loyalty with just one great product or just one great interaction. It requires consistently exceeding expectations across multiple touch points over time. So when I sold my brand, that 54% monthly return rate wasn't just an impressive statistic. It was proof that I had built something sustainable that would continue to grow even without me running it day to day. So stop chasing quick wins and start building real customer relationships. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.